Had a little listen to his podcast, huh?
Dude, it's educational. And besides, I've been wanting to listen to this one.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, a podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fanfiction it inspires. I'm Kasey.
I'm Sandra, and this episode isn't quite a do-over, but more of a continuing conversation with one of our favorite fandom friends. Jackie, known as Jinkies, Would You Look at This, has been writing SPN FanFic for over a decade, but has only recently gone all in with Wincest. When Jackie joined us last year, we mainly talked about her supernatural beginnings, fandom, and her then just getting started podcast, The Epic Love Story of Sam and Dean. There was also a much-needed breakdown of her trip to DCCon and Jensen's thigh. But today, we're focusing on Jackie's fanfic journey. Buckle up. Who knows where this ride's going to take us? So big thanks for joining us, and welcome back to the podcast, Jackie.
Welcome.
Hey, thank you. It's good to be back.
Yes, it's good to have you back.
I was thinking that the date is very, I guess it's auspicious. I don't know if that's the right term. Somebody could tell me if I'm not right. It's almost a year to the day that we did the picture with J2. And I was like, that, because I was looking up, because I have the little passes on my desk up top, and I was looking, I was like, September 20th to the 22nd, 2024. I was like, I'll be damn. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty great.
I was thinking about that this morning, that it's been a year. Yeah. That's cool.
And so much has happened. We've got a lot to talk about with you and what's going on currently. But because when you came on with us first, we thought, oh, we could definitely talk about all of these things all in one go and then just break it up. And then 3 hours later, I think we were like, you know what? We're all like, we should probably save this for another time. So it was good that we broke up our questions and everything in a different way than we usually do with some of our guests. So I do plan on tagging your first interview in the episode description. So if people want to go back and learn more about like your supernatural beginnings and all those things and fandom stuff. But I know a lot of that will probably weave in and out. But I wanted to focus more really on the fan fiction part of your supernatural life. But then we never know what else we're going to tangent on. So I think I wanted to start too with just like, where did your love of fan fiction start? Because I'm guessing I don't know. Was it supernatural that started it, or was it something else that started it for you?
It wasn't supernatural, not really. I started, I think because of my age, weirdly, I got into writing fan fiction before I ever really read fan fiction, and it's because I was doing it offline. So the first couple of fics that I ever wrote were Buffy the Vampire Slayer ones that do not exist anywhere, except I think I might still have a written copy in a box in my closet somewhere that I never uploaded. I'm never going to upload. They were probably terrible, but that's where that started. And it wasn't until probably like 2006, 2007, when I actually actively went like looking online for Firefly Serenity fan fiction.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And, read a bunch of that at the time and then wrote a few, just a couple, one of which never got finished. And I may have taken it down. It might still be out there somewhere. I don't know. But, and then it wasn't until 2015 when I got into supernatural that I really could say that I like kind of fell in love with fan fiction. And at that point, it's honestly for the last 5 years, it's been pretty much all I've read. So,
okay. So yeah, not even like, it is kind of weird, right? Like the way your brain just sort of like, no, at least for me, like I don't search out regular books anymore. Like it's just for me, it's just, and I think it's just because of how Kasey and I are just so, involved in this project and everything in general, that time doesn't really allow for a lot of other types of reading. And even if I get suggested another, just like a regular book, I'm really trying to think of the last book or any like, I can't remember the last book I
finished
read.
a book this week. I've been reading it for a couple of months, but I finished it this week.
My thing is regular books, I tend to get like actual papery copies of books. But then my house is very dimly lit at night. And since having kids, I found if I read at night, I read about a paragraph and a half and I'm asleep. And it doesn't matter what I'm reading. I just fall asleep.
Yeah.
And so most of my reading I do like earlier in the day, like because I wake up at the crack of dawn. So before my family wakes up, I will do a tremendous amount of reading then.
Okay.
And it's just easier to read it on a screen. And I don't have like an e-reader or anything like that. So I don't know. Fanfic, it's just there. It's just there. There's a seemingly endless supply.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I found that real books, the characters don't bang as much as they do in fanfic, and that's disappointing to me.
There's an amount of emotional investment that you have to put in to get into new characters, a new world a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I just don't have energy for that. I know Supernatural. I love Sam and Dean. I'm like, just give me more of them. Just
Yeah, and it's like a shortcut as well. You're like, oh, I know these people. This is fine. I know what to expect going into it. Real people books. You're like, the world is what now? This is who.
Well, that's a problem I have even with AU, and that's why I don't read as many AUs, and I don't read as much J2 fiction. Although I do occasionally read some, but as like I know a lot of people in my sort of the circles, you know, do. And I always feel like I'm missing out, but at the same time, I'll start to read things occasionally, and I'm just like, I have to figure all of this out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's understandable too. A lot of it.
No,
I mean, I think it's comfort. I think it's the ease of it. Like, I don't have kids, but I have the same sort of issue where like I don't read. I don't know what it is. I feel like my brain doesn't want to allow for fan fiction like before I have to start my work day. So because maybe I should start doing that. Maybe it'll put me in a better mindset for the rest of my day. But I tend to do it like at night when I'm getting ready for bed or I'm asleep. You know, I'm getting ready to sleep. I've got my Kindle in my lap, and I'll fall asleep after. It's 15 to 20 minutes is like a good amount of time to suggest I will retain what I've read, and then I'll wake up in the e-reader still in my lap, and I'm like, okay, it's time to put this away. I'll go back and figure out where I was at the next night. So
no, I have the opposite problem. If I have to be, I can't read real people books before bed because there's every chance I'll stay up until 3 a.m. to finish it. And this can affect me with fan fiction as well. So I have to be careful about what I start reading before bed because if it either has to be too long for me to finish in one setting or like less than 10,000. I can't do anything in between because then it has to be like, I would say like more than 30 or less than 10. Because if it's in the middle, I can read that in a night, but it's going to take me a couple of hours and I will stay up. And Jackie can attest to this because Jackie was replying comments and it was like midnight. And I definitely should have been in bed, but I was like, no, I have to finish it. I couldn't finish it. And then because I'm like the best spider, obviously I was leaving comments in every chapter. So Jackie must have been like, what?
I actually got a screen grab. I didn't get one that showed all of them, but like from, I think it was like chapter 5 on to the end. It was like, that was all that was in my email inbox was the notification emails from AO3. It was delightful. I was like, look at this. It's like a wall of comment notifications.
So that must have been lovely for Jackie. Jackie was like, oh my God, I'm getting comments. And I was like, Jackie, I am going through a fucking journey. So poor Jackie must have been reading them going, okay, right, okay, I'm being damned to hell. Cool. Oh, they liked it. Oh, no, I'm back in hell again. Oh, that's, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There was, honestly though, like, it's weird. I really just feel like in the matter of over the course of like a year or something, like my body's just like, I used to be like that, right? Like if I started reading something, it would keep me up and keep me engaged. But my body, within like the past years, be like, nope, you're going to bed. Doesn't matter how interested you are in this piece of work. We're sleeping 20 minutes in. So maybe I do need to try to change my routine a little bit. But see, then I wouldn't get any work done. I'd just still be thinking about,
I mean, I am distracted. Yeah, it is distracting.
It's definitely worth bearing in mind, Sandra, that I have been unemployed for quite a few months now. I haven't had shit to get up for.
Well, and sometimes my work happens at work very slowly because nobody actually pays attention to what I'm doing. And I am, in fact, reading while I'm working. And I'm trying to multitask, and that's not terribly effective at either.
Yeah, I've done that as well.
But like, it's funny with the falling asleep. Like, I don't do that with fan fiction. And that's one of the things I think because it grabs me easier, you know, because like I was just thinking I can't, I think on 3 separate occasions, I have allowed myself for some bizarre reason to get sucked into reading Desiderata by Dyed Red, which is currently like 45,000 words.
Okay.
And I'll just tear through it in a night. And I can't, so once I get going on it, I can't stop. And Finn has multiple comments for me at like, 4:30 in the morning being like, I didn't sleep at all again,
Sometimes it do be that way.
Sometimes sometimes it's that way. We all share. We all share
Yep.
what we're doing. Yeah. Oh, goodness. So I know you partially answered this question about when you found supernatural fan fiction. Where did you find it? What platform?
AO3. So I was on Tumblr. I was on Tumblr before I jumped into supernatural. And so part of that was I had been seeing people sharing, and people post a lot of long form text posts on Tumblr anyway. So I'd read a lot on Tumblr itself, but anything over a certain length, directs you. Oftentimes there's a link that directs you to AO3. Right. So I didn't get into it until after. LiveJournal was really kind of on the decline, I think, already by then. And so I don't really like the formatting of LiveJournal. Confuses the crap out of me. It makes me feel very old. Yeah.
But then I also find that about Tumblr as well. Because when you AO3, the fic takes up the whole page. There's nothing going on the sides. And also there's not like a fucking ad for Tumblr Premium. There's no like AO3 Premium ad in the middle of it. So if I'm on Tumblr, I'm like, oh god, this is so busy. Especially if I'm on the website. It's not as bad on the app. But if I'm on the website and you've got like all of your like the side menu of like home and messages and activity and all that shit, and then you got shit on the other side that's like suggested for you. And I'm like, no, I'm here to read. Is there I'm here to read format? Yeah. That's all I want.
I use a plugin to help alleviate some of that. I actually pay to use Tumblr now. I pay for premium just because I figured I talked to my husband about it and I was like, the amount of entertainment I've been getting out of this website, I think it's worth the cost. He's like, yeah, I agree. I'm like, okay, cool.
I do it too. I've got Tumblr Premium because I was just so tired of the ads. I was like, this is one thing I think I can justify, like giving money towards. So that's what I was doing.
I'm not on Tumblr enough to justify it, but I do have YouTube Premium for exactly the same reason.
Oh, there you go.
That's like my TV now. Because Lord knows I can't get near the fucking TVs in my house. So that's my TV. And I don't pay for it, but it comes in my phone plan. So I guess I do kind of pay for it because I pay for my phone plan. But yeah, no, I get shitloads of entertainment. And then I know that supposedly the money from YouTube Premium, if you watch a creator with YouTube Premium, they get a bit of it. So I'm hoping that eventually, when we get monetized, we'll get a bit of that.
There you go.
I do the same thing too. Tumblr, there are some people that I follow and I'm interested in reading the stories on Tumblr, but I just always want to default to AO3. So it's like, and some people don't always transfer their stuff over.
Right.
So it's like, you kind of really have to be like, okay. So then again, it's first world problem and I got to just do a little bit of extra work. Like maybe you have to be on your computer, to read a story, but like everything is like, oh, I see this. Let me download it and then I'll read it on my Kindle.
You don't read fanfic on your phone or a tablet?
Not anymore. If I find something I want to read, I download it for my Kindle. And this could be me also because I use that when I podfic. So I think my brain's just like converging into doing things a certain way, and I have to get myself out of it again because it's like, no, I get the fic, I download it because I'm going to read it or narrate it, using my Kindle. And I do the same thing that way. Like I have little folders, like one for narration of podcasts, or just like, I've got a Kasey folder. I've got like a, Fave Dean folder. I've got like, just a supernatural for like those god awful books, like, that I downloaded. And I was just like, which I was really like, the first one I was like, okay, this is decent. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? Like we could write, like people have written better stuff and it's good. It's
I know. I'm like,
it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
Wow, I read on my tablet. I can't I don't like reading on my phone because the screen is tiny. First world problems, am I right? But then if I'm on my computer, I don't like reading on my computer either because then I have to do like scrolly fingers, and that's I just swipe on my iPad.
Yeah. Oh, see, I don't like swiping. I like scrolling. Like that's one of the reasons why, like when I read things on AO3, I read the entire work I don't want to click chapter to chapter, which I feel a little bad about because it means I generally leave one comment at the end of, I don't do it chapter by chapter unless it's I'm reading it as it's posting.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the having the page to other things, I don't know why. It's like a weird pet peeve with me now. I'm like, I just want the endless scroll. I've been on Tumblr too long. It never ends. So I just keep going.
Scroll. No, I like chapter to chapter because as someone who is a fan of like a snappy ending, like ending on a Dean Zinger or something, I appreciate where an author chooses to end something and make a mark of delineation. So I feel like just the few seconds it takes you to go, okay, and then click to the next thing, like it gives you that pause that the author is aiming for.
You hated that because you used to get on me about like writing a cliffhanger and stuff. Is it because I waited too long to write the next part?
Probably.
Well, wait, you said zinger. What does that mean? What's the difference between a cliffhanger and a zinger? Clarify.
A zinger is
a clever turn of phrase, I guess.
Yeah, a clever turn of phrase. No, okay. I don't mind being left on a cliffhanger if the next bit is there. Like, that's okay. It's when you leave me on a cliffhanger and then don't come back for weeks and I'm like, Sandra, please.
Okay, yeah.
The only time I do read entire work is when someone manages to get like 4 fucking chapters out of a 2,000 word fic, and I'm like, what? You must deliberately be putting these breaks in. How have you done this? I have questions. Like, that's a one shot right there, friend. That's not new. No.
Oh, that's okay. So interesting.
Question then. Although maybe this doesn't. No. Do you guys use Kindle on like your phone or anything? Like the Kindle app?
I have in the past. I have a couple of books I've got on Kindle that at various points in time when I was someplace and I just needed some,
Jackie,
generally before I found fan fiction, because now if I need something to read, I just go to AO3.
You can put any book on the Kindle app. Talk to me about it, sweetie. I can help you. Okay, then are you a tapper or a scroller?
For what?
You can. Well, if it's an actual physical e-reader, you have to tap the side of the screen to change pages. But on the app, you can set it to continuous scroll.
Oh yes, yeah. No, I'm a scroller. I like scrolling.
See, I'm a tapper on my iPad, but I'm a scroller on my phone because the screen is already too small. I'm like, I'm flicking pages back and forth, left and right here. I got fat thumbs. Like, no.
I have a tendency to scroll as I read, though, to keep whatever line I'm reading up towards the top of the screen because it makes it easier for me to keep track of where I am.
I'm a tapper because I have it on my phone too, but I tap it on my phone as well.
Maybe a tapper on your phone as well. I don't know.
Maybe it's the mouse aspect of it. Like as I've kind of always hated scrolling on my mouse, so I like the tapping aspect of it better.
And I have a touchpad on my computer because I've got a laptop and I just use the touchpad. So it's literally just 2 fingers on the touchpad and I just zoom.
Nope, I have an external mouse. I have an external mouse with a scrolly wheel. I can't be doing that swooshing thing. I'm not about that life. Because when I try and use the trackpad, I'm fucking zooming things and I am like your grandma trying to use Windows 98. I'm zooming things in and out. I'm closing things. I'm opening things. No. Scrolly wheel on the mouse. I need clicky, actual functional keys. I can't be doing that.
Yeah, so interesting. I'll be interested if people, I feel like this will be the thing people comment on.
Yes, nothing else. Just be like, I'm a tapper. I'm a scroller.
I like to read it this way. I think being able, as Kasey said, like if you can zoom out of like what your normal way of doing stuff is, you probably I'd give myself more opportunity to enjoy different stuff. But I've gotten into this routine that, because I mean, you were even talking about like kudos and comments and like, I've always got to remember at some point to go back to stuff I've read on my Kindle to go back and kudos. Like there's a ton of stuff from Nick's I've read that I have to go back and like at least kudos it and like do a comment at the end. And I just, haven't done that in such a long time for a lot of fic,
I save my bookmarks to my computer. I download those to Calibre, but I can't do it for like fics that I'm currently reading because I'll forget to go back. And I always feel like, okay, if I go back and reread this like 100 times on my Kindle or whatever, I'm denying the author all those hits. And I feel bad about that. And I will not remember to go back and kudos, and I will not remember to go back and comment. I'll just be like, oh, that's a good book. Move on with my life. And then that poor author's like, why does nobody read my stuff?
Yeah. It's good to have that. Like I use the history on AO3 to give myself every like so often, like go back, you downloaded this, you looked at this, go back and kudos or go back and comment. Yeah, it's
I recently did like a big AO3 like clear through. So I went through like all my bookmarks, I went through like my subscriptions, my marked for laters, everything, and saved everything because I lost quite a few fics from my bookmarks from people deleting them from the site, and I was like, oh no. So now I have there's a plugin for Calibre where you just put the URL in and it pulls it, and I have like an entire second Calibre library. So I have like my main library for like real books, and then I have an entire second one just for fanfic because eventually I'm going to go through and make covers for everything. But there's
well, that's
only like 500 fucking stories in there, so it's gonna take a minute.
I download everything, but I'm a weirdo, and I just download it as a Word doc and just save that. But it's partially because I want to be able to just endlessly scroll through things, but also, and we'll get to this later, but because I never know which of these I might want to try printing and binding.
Yes.
And the Word doc is just an easier format to start with. So I just grab everything that way.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an ebook anthology creator in Calibre. I have again, there's a plugin for that. There's a plugin for fucking everything, I swear to God.
I'm not that organized.
No, so if it's like a series, then I'll download it all and I will make it into a, like Calibre calls it, an anthology. And and eventually I'm gonna go in and like put like contents and like, you know, mark the actual separate sections of fic. Again, it's a task for when I lose my fucking mind. And I'm like, I need something mindless.
There's a plugin that and again, this is when I was trying to get back into
I did it for you,
stuff.
Sandra.
You did it. You did it for my stay-at-home romance thing that I did. But what was it called before?
The person I'm going to bathe myself in Purell. I'm going to bathe myself in Purell, but it was Personal Protective Dean.
Yeah.
And you had a few different installments of it, and I put them all together and put a nice little cover.
Yeah, so it was so nice.
Send it to Sandra.
Yes,
so nice.
Very nice. Kasey's a very good spider. No, there's a plugin that I tried using again when I was trying to say, you know what, I'm going to try to comment in Kudos. I'm going to read stuff on my computer to make it easier to do it. And I can't remember if it's just for Firefox or if I just, again, my brain was like, just use it on Firefox and not on Chrome so you don't get confused, because I think I was worried about the plugin being wonky or something. So I think I used it on Firefox. But it's as you're reading, you can highlight a portion of what you want to comment on, and then it'll put that highlight in your comment, and then you could just like write underneath it or something like that. I only used it a few times. It seemed useful, but again, because I don't read on my laptop all my at night, it's one of those things where I have to make the effort. You know, we sound so
we're tired. Life is hard.
It's hard. Let us
get some fire, yo. We're fucking tired. We're doing the best that we can.
Yeah.
We're all writers, right? So we know what a kudo and a comment means to people, but then it's like, how do you switch that when you're in the reader mode and still retain that? It's so weird. It's like two different, like split personality. Like, you know, this is me as a reader, this is me as a writer. Trying to converge the two is always interesting, but yeah. Oh man. That was quite a tangent that we were able to do. So, I mean, we know that you are definitely like, you're in the Wincest pairing and shipping aspect of it. But like outside of that, do you enjoy any other pairs or ships, or maybe like previously before you got full on into Wincest? Like, what do you read now, I guess?
It's so currently I read like Wincest, Gencest, like stuff that like I do read a lot of genfic that's just set in supernatural. I love me a good case fic, but before really getting into Wincest, Wincest was the first sort of like, you know, male slash ship that I've ever gotten into. Really, like I read some other stuff and nothing ever really grabbed me. I was kind of always like I get why people like it, but I don't know.
How about Buffy?
You know?
Was there anything in Buffy that you liked?
Yeah, is there a slash ship in Buffy?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I've never watched it. I don't know.
Like
Sorry,
Buffy
Jackie.
and Spike, like most everything that I liked prior to was all het ships. So, and it was generally stuff that was canon, you know,
Gotcha.
like Mulder and Scully and Buffy and Spike, which I think was superior to Buffy and Angel, but that's just personal preference.
I like Spike.
Yeah. The cast of Firefly, like however, I don't but that was less picky. But again, it was all like het ships for the most part. But I'm not really like I know a lot of people that are multi-shippers, right? Like they just love taking characters and being like, what happens if we smush these two characters together, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's delightful. I love that people do that. My brain doesn't work that way. I see it and I'm just like, yeah, but why? Why would they? I don't understand the motivations here.
Yeah. I require context.
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get that. Yep.
So, with Supernatural, I started off with the reader inserts. And the first 5 years probably that was the vast majority of what I read, what I wrote was, either Dean and or Sam reader inserts.
Right.
And then I finally decided, we don't really need the reader in here. The reader can go.
Well, I remember, so we talked about it a little bit, I think, but like, there was that hesitancy, right? Like so just like to delve into it, like, just go there.
Well, and it was funny because like when I was kind of going through the question document that you sent over, and I got thinking about it, and I went back and I looked at my AO3 history because most of what I have read was on AO3, and I don't delete history or anything like that. So it's all still on there, and like predictably, like I can see right when I got my AO3 account, like also I'm like, okay, Dean Reader, Sam Reader. And it was like 5 or 6 Dean Reader ones. And then there was a Sam Reader. And then there was a bunch of Dean ones and a few Sam ones. And I was like, obviously bouncing back and forth.
Right.
And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. And then it was like a few days in, then you've got like a Dean and Sam and reader. And I was like, and then there was like a whole bunch of those as I kind of tore through and found everything with that I could find.
Yeah.
And so, and then it was like, one boy or both, yes. And with writing, it kind of went the same way. I'd do one of them or the other. And then I had some where I'm like, well, what if we throw both of them in? And those were, for a long time, my much more popular ones. A good Winchester sandwich is always appreciated, I think. But
100%.
Oh, yeah. And then it was from there, it was just sort of like a stepping off point where I was like, but again, what if we just take the reader out of the middle? And again, I kind of baby stepped myself into it. And I think it was because part of it is when I got into Supernatural in 2015, I think it was really the ship wars were really kind of waging at that point. So, and things were starting to get more divisive between Destiel and Wincest. So I was already seeing a lot of sort of, it's not the same anti sort of behavior that we're seeing nowadays. It wasn't quite the puritanical thing that I think we've fallen into, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I was seeing the
not
beginnings.
Fictional incest.
Right. I know. Oh God, no.
No.
They're literal brothers. Ooh, you ship literal brothers? I'm like, literally, they're not literal.
Did you watch Game of Thrones? Did you watch Game of Thrones? Shut the fuck up.
Well, and also I'm like, they're like, do you know what literal means? No, they're not literal brothers.
These are fictional characters. Fictional characters.
Oh, goodness.
So, and that took just a little bit, I think, to build up the courage to finally be like, you know what? Screw it. This is what I like. This is what I enjoy. And I'm just going to go with it. So,
yep.
Do you think it was an easier...
Live your best life.
Do you think it was an easier time to get into it than back then? But then like to go full on now is, I think, really much more making a commitment and a stance kind of a situation with like Wincest and stuff?
Reading... It's hard to tell because it's really hard to gauge the ages of some of the people that I'm seeing have the discussion in real time on on Tumblr, right?
Right.
And I get the impression that a lot of them are younger. A lot of the older folks that I know generally are more like, whatever, I like it. I'm reading it. It's fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, there seems to be like just from like the babies in the fandom that I have spoken to. Hey, if you're under 25 or 26, you're a baby. Just get over it. come back to me when you're 30. There seems to be like coming out as a Wincest shipper seems to be a thing that is now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did we used to do that? Was that a what? No, you did what?
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, I think too, like Jackie made the point of like, knowing people that like that multi-ship and being all for that. Like, I think there's got to be like the term pro ship, right? Like they're like,
right.
I want to be like, I like what I like. I'm for anybody else liking whatever it is they want to like, and like, not be judgy about it. And I think that's where we're kind of, we're losing that a lot more, like you said, with the puritanical approach to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that it would be nice to maybe get back to a time when not everybody just felt like they needed to make a comment about something everybody else was doing, but we are not getting out of that anytime soon. Unfortunately, everything's bleeding into that. So I think we're kind of like in this holding pattern of judge, and not focus on what you enjoy, and just let other people do the same. So yeah, I think it's been a weird time for a while, but it is just getting. I feel like it's getting much worse in terms of that aspect of just judgment. Which is weird, right? Like, I mean, Jackie, you're a Gen Xer like me. Like, I remember the 90s being sort of like this, hey, we're going to try to be open and, like we're going to, I just grew up in a time when there was possibility, about like all of the things that could happen. And this is so a time of not. And I feel bad for generations growing up in this where they're already being fashioned into there's no possibility. It's just this way. And that makes me so deflated.
It's
for that.
It's interesting. It's interesting, isn't it? When you think of like X's kind of walking to break. So those sort of like societal, not norms, but like expectations maybe.
But we just didn't care.
Yeah, you were just like, no, fuck this shit. No.
Let people live their life.
And millennials came along and we were like, wait, what? We've been lied to. Oh, dicks. All right, fine. Fuck this shit.
To also be fair, like, it's not like we are without reproach because, from the information I've heard, we are a big part of, like, one of the reasons why we're in where we're at today, like the majority of Gen Xers. So, like, we're not by any means, but I just remember it felt...
But it's like...
There was more hope for me. Like, I don't know. I felt different. We grew up in an age where we were, like, the first, like, the girls that were no longer expected to have to, be the moms that stayed at home. Like there was opportunity, like, we were going to have to juggle a bunch of different things. But if we wanted to be a wife, a mother, and a career person, we had opportunity. And it just feels like things are being taken away again.
Yes.
And I don't know.
It's that big pendulum, I think Gen X was poised because of course, you had boomer, like, and this isn't just like a strict generational thing. It's more like a decade sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because so many of the boomers were like, they were like hippies, right? You were either real conservative or you were a hippie. And if you live long enough, you might be a hippie that became conservative, like, because that often happens as we age.
Yeah.
And then Gen X came and sort of weaponized the power of the whatever, like, and kind of broke away from what was a conservative upswing as the boomers started to age. And we were like, nah, we're going to have fun with this.
Yeah.
And so, then that happened, and then handed it right off to millennials who swung it even further.
And now we're all being lectured by these babies that were immoral. Like, we walked and ran so you could prance. Seriously. Like, it's like sort of maybe a false equivalency, but like the conservative puritanical nature that is in the queer community, bitch, Stonewall crawled so you could prance. And now you're going to be like, oh no, well, you're doing gay wrong. Like, I have a lot of problems with RuPaul. I do, right? But as a fucking a media personality, he, she, they, what, like, however, I'm unsure of the pronouns that RuPaul uses. I think all of them is the answer. But as a media icon, RuPaul broke so many fucking barriers, just smashed them.
And really
then these baby
up.
gays, and then these baby gays were like, RuPaul is problematic and RuPaul should be cancelled. Fucking check your privilege, bro. Yes, RuPaul is somewhat problematic, and I do not agree with all of their opinions, but can we acknowledge what they did to be where we are now? Like, I'm not saying build a statue and praise them, but, like, you don't get to say that everything they did is worthless.
Right. Don't completely write the person off just because some of what they're doing you don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
You can acknowledge the stuff that was good, the stuff that was groundbreaking, particularly where, you know, queer representation and just the ability to just exist is.
Yeah.
You know, there were some, because from a popular conscious standpoint, most people, you had like the popularity of the movie, like The Birdcage and Too Long Fu, Thanks for Everything. Loved Julie Newmar, which is the longest title ever. But you know, you had that, and they were groundbreaking in and of themselves. And RuPaul kind of came up roughly around the same time. I think I have no concept of time.
It's an illusion. Don't worry.
Right. But all of that, like, now seems so pedestrian. We look back on it and we're like, but that was nothing. It wasn't enough. It wasn't, you know, and we're like, no, but it was huge.
At the time,
At the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and it was almost unthinkable, but it's also like Brokeback Mountain. When that movie came out, that broke people's brains. Like, that shocked the hell out of people. And now if you go back, like, I just watched it for the very first time just a couple months ago. And it was something I've always...
Were you like... What is the hype? What?
No, the terrible thing, the worst part is I was watching it, and I know the basic story because I exist online, you know, but I was watching, and when that first sexual encounter between the two of them, all I kept thinking was, oh my God, no, like lube or something. God.
Right? Just spit in a prayer? No.
Right. And I was like, I have obviously been reading enough /fic now.
Jackie has been paying attention in fact versus fiction class.
Yes.
Jackie knows these things. Yeah, that was, and like, without getting too graphic, it wasn't even a lot of spit. Like, it wasn't even.
No,
it wasn't even. It was like a little bit of spit. Like, I don't know if you want to get sepsis on a mountainside, boys. No.
But again, at the time, it was groundbreaking, and it was a huge.
It was a huge deal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now we're at a place where, and I mean, the Disney Corporation is a fucking problem, but we've gone back now to a place where they're like, oh my God, you can't have like same-sex parents in a Disney movie for like 30 seconds. Oh my God, that's like the children. But what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, I don't like it here.
I know. How did we end
this.
up on this timeline? This timeline sucks.
But
we exist at the same time as Jensen Ackles and Jared
No,
Padalecki,
that's the one thing I try to hold on to.
Hopeful.
Yeah, I hold on to that. So, but is there any okay, so I know you're like, you say it's got to make sense to me in my head. Would there be any like canon characters, maybe because you know, if you've listened to us, you know that Kasey's big on like Jodie Sam and I'm big on like Dean and Donna. Is there anybody like ship that you like to read?
I love the idea of them. Like when I sit and I just sort of like, you know, watch the show and I think about characters. I love Dean and Donna. I think they would have been an absolute hoot together. They'd be adorable, like too much to handle. I like Sam and Rowena. Like I think that would have been really fascinating. And they had such a great kind of chemistry between the two of them. You know, Sam and Jodie to a degree. Yeah, you know, but I don't really read much about it. Like I've read a handful of fics for those ships. So it's more of I enjoy it as a thought experiment more than actually diving into the fan fiction on it.
If I'm going to read one of the boys with a woman, I'm going to pretend it's me. So it's going to read her in
basically.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, I mean, that's my ship.
Right.
Disclaimer: Kasey's not a woman.
But Kasey can slide whichever way you want with that.
And ship it.
Exactly. If we're going to be dealing with those bits, I'm going to imagine they're my bits.
What would the name be? Have we done this before? Have we workshopped this for you and Sam?
Cam.
What about Stacey? Stacey.
Yeah,
I like Stacey. I think Stacey's cute. Stacey's cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I vaguely recall this, but
okay.
did we inspire, like, when did the explicit stuff start? Did we inspire you to write something explicit?
Because you decided to write something.
Okay. All right. Okay, please. Remind me.
You did. So technically the first Wincest fic I wrote that was like explicit was actually a weird one. And I'm going to, because the one you just prompted me for, I'm going to get to in 1 second.
Yeah.
But the one before it was Make-A-Wish. But it involved a body swap that was based off of a flesh flutter fic called The Time That Dean Was Sam's Girlfriend. Basically where, because Dean and Jessica share a birthday, the idea was, they both on their birthday kind of make a wish and it's like Freaky Fridays.
Okay.
I think I've read that.
Yeah, it's a darling. Flesh Flutters is an adorable little romp of a fic. I love it. But it's very Jen, it's very sweet and kind of upbeat.
Okay.
And I read it and I was like, yes, but what if it was porn? So like
Sandra, that's the title of this episode.
I can't make that the title. I wish I could, but I can't. But it'd be a
no,
great
you can.
one.
You're gonna have to do P and then like asterisk or something.
Yes.
Can we change it to like, what if it was schmarm or something?
Smut? Does smut work? Is that a no-no word?
Hey,
we'll still get in trouble, I think.
You know, a short that we did for the Jensen Ackles writing contest. The short is called Time for a Story Writers Contest and Maturing in Fandom. It's got 6 views because the algorithm went, you can't have mature in the title, fuck off. So porn is out, smut won't work. You could just call it what if it was ...
Right.
Yeah,
there you go.
Same ring to it.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I'll find something that rhymes with porn that's safe for work.
But so I rewrote it with the idea that, and it's kind of non-con because Dean never does tell Sam what's going on. Sam thinks that this is just Jessica that he's dealing with. And there's sex involved. So I was writing that was Dean in Jessica's body having sex with Sam. So it was still a physical situation.
Gotcha.
Which was weird. And that was an interesting, keeping track of pronouns in that was tricky.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Good Lord.
And then I dealt with what Jessica was getting up to in Dean's body, right?
Okay.
So like, and I enjoyed that, but then I found you two had done your self-inflicted word count challenge, right?
Okay.
Where Dreamer had given you a prompt that was something to the effect of like, what if one of them, like accidentally texts,
or does like
sexts with the other one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what would happen? And I read both of yours and I loved both of them. But my brain did that thing where it occasionally does, where I'm like, ooh, but what if? And it just ran off on this tangent of how I might do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was, it's whatever this is, and it ended up being like 10,000 words. So
it was long, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it was just Dean sends Sam like a text message and a photo, and it kind of blows up their life a little bit, but it turns out that they're both on the same page, and it's just a matter of them kind of coming around to it.
Gotcha.
And it's later seasons, it's set in the bunker, and I don't know, it had that nice, I like that one. It's actually
an excellent fic.
Thank you. It's become my most popular fic. So like, it's got more bookmarks than anything I've ever written. It's
nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it's got almost as many kudos as Coincidence, which had been the previous heavyweight champ in my, my list of works.
Yeah, which I read a little bit of for our smut closet.
Yeah.
Yes,
you did.
Indeed. I did. But this was your first full on like explicit
male/male fic that I ever wrote.
That's great. I'm glad that we inspired that in you, that you're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the thing. That's awesome.
Well, it was funny because like I hadn't said anything. I just sort of posted it and I linked it. I mentioned it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how was it? No, it was Kasey. I think you saw, because I had misconstrued. I thought that your summary was the prompt, I think.
Yeah.
So I had listed your summary as the prompt, and you were like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, I refreshed that. I refreshed AOP so many times. I'm like, surely this is a glitch. That's not my fic, but that's my what? And I think I
And
left
as
your
soon as you
comment to
pointed
be
out, I
like,
was like, "Oh,
I had a fucking heart attack. What the hell?
I mean, I think one of the first things I read of yours, Jackie, though, was Heat, which had that, which I thought was great, but wasn't explicit at all. But like, it was like just building up to it with the boys. Were you writing Gencest at that point?
That's a good question. I mean, I've always had some some fics that were Gencest, because I get like the first supernatural fic I ever wrote was a Gencest fic.
Okay.
That I only wrote the first chapter. Because I like wrote it, I had an idea for the next chapter, but before I could do that, then I had another idea and I just got sidetracked and have never gone back and finished that original one. So I've always had ones that I kind of bounce around on the ratings. I'm all over the map on ratings of what I write.
Well, it's fun, I think, to explore different parts of it too. But you mentioned case fic. Was one of your first ones also like a case fic? Because I thought it was. Okay. Yeah.
It's called Small Town Witch, and it's basically I can't even remember. I don't even think the main character's. I'd have to dig in and look. She's sort of an OC. Yeah, she's an OC. I gave her a name.
Okay. Okay.
It's been a while since I've gone back to that one. And it's basically, Sam and Dean in a town on a case, and they run into, there's a witch who lives in the town who had previously been taking care of whatever this problem was, but the problem is going sideways and getting out of control.
I think I would like that. Because I saw that, I was like, I think I need to read that. So I have to bookmark that.
It ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, and I apologize because and it even says to be continued ... at the end, and I have not continued it.
That's okay,
Jackie. Why?
It happens
because the ADHD doesn't cooperate with that, Kasey.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Oh gosh,
very real way. Yep.
We were talking, so I know we talk about fanfic and being like what you like to read. I'm assuming that's how you just got into writing in general, or had you done any original writing before that, or was it just fanfic to start with, like Buffy and stuff? They got like pen to paper.
Yeah, it's been fanfic from the beginning. I don't really like creating new characters. I have for a few things, like a lot of my reader inserts were basically just unnamed OCs that I just left open enough that hopefully people can kind of slide into them if they want. But I don't really, and I think I don't have the energy for the whole world building aspect and fleshing out a full character of like original character.
Right.
So I like fan fiction because it's like pre-made characters in a pre-made world. And so then it's just a matter of spinning them through scenarios.
Yeah.
And that's the part I like.
The reader inserts then that you would write, or like the OCs, would they be more like compact and like smaller stories too? Like, did you just like you said, you're just focusing on a scenario or an idea, or what if it was porn? Like, did it end up being smaller story wise in terms of length before you kind of got into? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I think before the switch into Wincest, I think the longest one I might have done.
I mean, there was a lot to coincidence, but so I think like altogether, that's probably still wasn't super long, right?
No, coincidence is only 7,500 words.
Okay.
And I did A Little Dream. That one's 15,000. And I want to say Devotion might have been longer than that. Devotion. But I did a lot of little one shots. Yeah, Devotion was 18,000. So I think Devotion had been my longest one until I want to say it was like the beginning of 2023 when I started writing Wincest stuff.
Okay. Do you because we've talked about this, Kasey and I. Can you do a drabble now? Can you do a one shot now, or does it take a lot more effort than when you find yourself like coming up with what about this? What about this? What about this?
I can.
Okay.
But a lot of the ideas that I've come up with have ended up being a little longer, and that's where like I did when I got started. because when I made the switch more over to Wincest, again, I started more on the gen side of things. So I had a whole bunch of stuff that was like teen rated or mature or straight up gen. And there was one that was, and it was spinning. It's not that great. It's not one of my favorites, but I like it because it kind of got me into writing more again. And oh no, it was Rolling. Rolling was the one. That one got up to 20,000. And it was more just, I wrote a chapter and threw it out there. And then realized, oh no, I have an idea for something else. And I kept adding on. It ended up 6 chapters long and about 20,000 words. And then that really, so now like, then after that one, then, you know, I've had like, I did whatever this is, and which was right around, it was 10,000. And then it just kind of, I don't know, they do slowly creep up there, don't they?
They do.
But the chapter by chapter ones, when I don't know what I'm doing and I'm just writing as I go, you know, like releasing chapters as I go, tend to hover between the 10 and 20,000 mark.
Okay.
That I seem to be able to wrap up a story usually within that frame.
What do you like? How do you like writing better now? Like, do you like, I guess it just depends, right? It just depends on what grabs you at the time, but like whether you're doing chapter by chapter, because we just had, we just talked to Nix a little bit about like, you know, releasing sort of in a serialized format, but already sort of having the bulk of her story, or at least a good portion at the time, which she thought was, you know, going to be released, and then leaving it out to, you know, getting comments and stuff. Do you feed off of, do you have an idea? Like, do you like to pluck ideas that people give you, or how do you like deal with if you release by chapter situation? Do you let people guide you, or do you already be like, I'll just wait and see what I feel like writing next when you get comments from people?
It's very much a wait and see what happens next. I'm usually when the stories that I have written, where I have written a chapter, thrown it out there, and then my brain went, ooh, there's another chapter. And I write the next one and I throw it out there. There usually isn't a plan behind that. It's more like, I thought this was a one shot, and now my brain keeps regurgitating more story into this. And now it's like, now I've got plot. As
now
I know
it's
y'all
a
have run into this.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now I have to resolve the plot. And what I'm trying to do, I am sort of switching away. I'm consciously trying to switch away from just writing a chapter at a time and throwing it out into the void, because I have a bad history of starting stories that then I'm like, I don't really want to finish that.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the ADHD gremlin takes control and you're like, I never want to see this again. I'm done with this now. And everyone's like, but the ending, Jackie, the ending.
Right.
Yeah.
I've actually, like, there are a few I've tagged as just unfinished. Because I'm like, look, I liked this, and some of y'all were along for the ride. I'm probably not going to come back to it at this point.
Right.
The dopamine has run dry.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. Yep. That's what caused me to stop. I used to write like that, where I'd just write a chapter, throw it out, and then the next time, you know, just write another chapter. And I had to stop that when I just had to abruptly end a fic in the middle of it and be like, it's after Christmas and I don't want to look at this anymore. I'm so sorry. I've tried to round it off. I might come back to it later. I never did. And after that, I was like, okay, I could finish something before I post it now.
Yeah.
Well, and that's, so like, whatever this was a one shot. So it was 10,000 words. I wrote it all just as a sort of marathon, just like blah, it out and posted it. But then, and then after that, like, I've had some other ideas. I kind of, the bigger ones I'm trying to hold on to. The little ones that I write, you know, if it's going to be just a couple of thousand words, I'll just write it and throw it out. And I have some that are just, you know, porn without plot. It was just a little scene in my head, or it's just a little gincest. I've done a few like timestamp things about the boys as kids that I really liked. That it was just, again, it was like, this is just a little scene that I need to write and get out of my head. But the other stuff I'm trying to hoard. You know?
Well, because you don't know when you might be able to put it towards something else, I would imagine, too. Like, you know, it's like, well, maybe these things are going to form a story that, you know, I can then put all these ideas together. I did.
One of my early reader inserts actually started off as 2 separate little one-shots. I wrote one of them. I wrote the second one and I posted both of them and I looked at them and I was like,
go together.
I was like, this is actually the same story. I just need to write a chapter for the middle and then one for the end. And it ended up being a 4-chapter little story.
Mm-hmm.
And it pieced together that way. And now
that's super cute. I love that.
What was the first thing that Kasey wrote that got you? Because was it Demonic
Junkies?
Okay. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Which I found before I realized, I think I read that. I think I read it before I found the podcast, your all's podcast. And then it was while I was listening and getting caught up on the podcast, you guys talked about it. And all of a sudden my brain went, oh my God, that's that fic. Because I had commented on it and Kasey had replied and we had a nice little back and forth in the comments. And, of me reading it going, oh, I love this. It's, you've got to keep going. And Kasey's like, I know, I'm working on it. And I was like, and then when I realized that it was you two, that was I had a moment where I was like, oh my God, I've spoken with Kasey.
Oh, goodness.
You have no idea the joy it brings me when people just find me randomly in the wild.
Right? That's so cute.
I'm just like, oh my God, people. And then they're like, holy shit, it's you. It's me. What happens is an opening line comes to me. And I know I've talked about this with you, Sandra, as well. A fic's not a fic until it names itself. And that doesn't have to be a title. It gives me an opening sentence. My brain is like, and we're starting with this. And I'm like, cool. Brilliant. And sometimes that's awesome. And sometimes that's me going, I don't have fucking time for this. I don't have time for this.
But you write it down, which is important, right?
Yes,
you always write it down. So that's good. You're not like me, where like, oh, I thought of something and then I forget about it. I'm like, what? You're like,
oh, remember?
And I won't.
She did not remember.
I was laid in bed the other night. I don't even know what fucking time it was. But the line, so here's the thing. Sam doesn't want to be a sadist. Fucking sauntered into my head like a whole ass bunny that I did not approve. And it just walked in with its little bunny children. And I was like, the fuck did you come from? And it was like, dunno, but I live here now. And I'm like,
goodness.
Well, I have a 37-page document that is just called story ideas that whenever those bunnies occur to me, I just add it to the document, and it's just separated by section breaks.
Yep.
And it's snippets of dialogue that have occurred to me, plot ideas, bits of inspiration. Yeah, and it's 37 pages long at the moment. And I go back through, I troll back through sometimes and harvest bits to put into things, but
I'm amazed when you guys do that. When I hear about that, I'm like, my brain doesn't work like that. I don't know what it is. I can't do all those story ideas. And then I end up like, well, I know I had an idea, but it just won't happen.
That was one. I don't know where it was. No, I used to have a Google list.
Point where it has to be, if I come back to it again and again and again, then I know I want to focus on it. It's not just like a little blip. Nope. I keep coming back to this as something I want to focus on. That's how my brain works.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, I used to have a Google Doc. I used to have a list in Google. And now I have a whole ass Discord server with the Dreamer.
Right.
That has channels that are like, I think mine is Bad Ideas by Kasey. Hers is the motherfucking list. Nice. And then there's like different channels for like active whips that have like Google Docs and are like have been started and stuff. And now it all lives there, because I find that far more helpful, because then I can just dip into Discord at 2 a.m. and just paste it in that, like, because I already had an idea for Reluctant Sadist Sam. So after I'd finished writing down everything the bunny was telling me, which again, I don't know how it got in there. It was not an approved bunny. Like, nobody asked
just
me.
Slip in. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking sneaky under the fence. And by the time I'd finished writing it, I could just go to that like thread and just paste it in there and be like, okay, well, that's goes with that. But
right.
Yeah. But eventually the fic will, the next part of Junkies will name itself, it will come to me, and then I will be able to move forward and try and find some lyrics that I haven't used from the one song that I allowed myself.
I think we need to talk about Do-Over, because
yes, Jackie, we fucking do.
So tell us about, because Do-Over your longest and most like is the most complicated thing that you'd say you've worked on?
Probably. I mean, yes. And it's not as complicated as it was originally going to be. I had to simplify things as I went because it was becoming too long for me. So back, I want to say it was towards the beginning of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Saw a Tumblr post, as often is the case with me and my plot bunnies. I saw a Tumblr post that somebody had done a mashup of, it was like a GIF of Dean, and then they used a GIF of Colin Ford from one of his other things that he's acted in.
Okay.
But they put it together with it was like an Imagine, that was on Tumblr, where it was kind of like this Dean and this Sam and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I think I can actually write that. Something, as happens in my brain, it went, nope, we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started a doc of ideas. I actually ended up with, it was like a 6,000 word, that was the summary document.
Oh, did you like outline it?
Sort of. Yes,
Okay.
kind of. I blurbed it. So yeah. So I wrote it as a very informal outline where I kind of went, this happened, this happened, this happens,
Right.
this happens, kind of this, then maybe this. And then originally it had the main A plot was between Sam and Dean. And then there was a B plot that was supposed to be with Castiel and Gadriel dealing with angel shit.
Okay.
And then there was even a C plot of Crowley, who is now human and just being pathetic on the sidelines. And I ended up having to drop the B and C plots because the A plot was testing the limits of my ability to focus.
Yeah. Could you be convinced to pick those back up though and be like, kind of do them as an accompaniment to the main series?
I don't know. I think more likely what I might do if I do more with Do Over, I'm gonna flesh out the A plot better because I think I could have written a lot more with it. Maybe.
Well, let's talk about the plot then, because
you're gonna be handing out bags. Bags are important, you see, because when you rip out guts consistently, people need a way to carry them. And I don't know if you know this about guts, but they're kind of like slippery and not particularly conducive to being carried by human hands.
Yeah.
So you do have to hand out gut carrying accoutrement.
When I started reading it, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be hard for Kasey. Oh, this is going to be hard for Kasey." I was like, I hope Kasey sees how good the story is and can get past, because I know I keep calling it time travel. It's not time travel, but like in my brain, because of all the things that happen with them and their ages and stuff, it has, I get it's more like AU, like I know it's more alternative universe and like all these things combining and stuff, but the way you put like having them different ages interacting with, but then the different timeline breakouts was so interesting. But yes, plot it for us, Jackie.
So the original Imagine was that it was a season 9 AU, right? So it was a canon divergent AU. Sam doesn't survive the trials, but Dean can't live without him. So he gets help from the angel Ezekiel to basically bring his brother back. It ends up bringing a 16-year-old Sam from another universe where his Dean had died. So, and I took that idea where, so our Dean, the main Dean, Dean Prime, if you will, was, in order for him to lose Sam at the end of season 8, that means he couldn't get back to the church in time to stop Sam from completing the trials. So Sam completed the trials and that kills him.
Okay,
and Dean does not deal with this terribly well because Dean does not deal with this terribly well.
That's what you.
Wait a minute, you're peeking out.
We lost you.
Such an understatement. Dean does not deal with this very well. Dean rips the fabric of space and time. Well, not rips it, but
he finds a loophole.
Yeah.
Okay, no. First of all, because like I'm not going to spoil the whole fic, right? But I need you to know this, Jackie. Jackie wrote some of the most beautiful prose that I've ever read in my fucking life when Dean finds Sam. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me, but it's something like a marionette with its strings cut. And in season 8, when he's like, I'm going to go interview when they find Metatron, but he's all like trials. And Dean's like, hey, no, little big man, you need to take a nap. And he falls back in his head, goes, swoosh. And it's so beautiful. It's all swooshy on the pillow. That's what I imagined him looking. He's all pale. That's what I imagined him looking like, and I was like, "How fucking dare you?"
I know. So, first off, I should say this fic comes with 2 archive warnings because it has major character death because I do in fact kill off both Sam and Dean in this story, but it does end happy. I tagged it with a happy ending because I start the fic with the Sam and a Dean and I end the fic with the Sam and a Dean and is happy.
I remember us talking about it, Jackie. I remember you messaging me and be like, real quick, tag question.
Right. I was like, how do I tag this? Because I kill the main characters, but I don't but I still have them.
It's a technicality.
Supernatural is weird in the way that some of these plots, and you're like, this is a perfectly reasonable plot for a supernatural story. But then you're like, but how do you tag this? Because I also ended up, it's also tagged with underage because, so alternate Sam, other than his age, the main difference for his timeline was that he was in a romantic sexual relationship with his Dean before his Dean gets killed. So, and most of it's dealt with in dream sequences and flashbacks.
We want to talk about dream sequences as well, Jackie. Wait, we gonna get there.
So it's, and ultimately what the story is the two of them have each lost their brother, their most important person in the world, to them. And it's them grieving that and then learning to get to know and form a new relationship with this alternate version of their brother that ends up being ultimately just as strong as the relationships that they lost. And then they move forward from there. And I know that the beginning, there's a lot of angst and there's a lot of grief in the beginning.
Really?
Of it. Yeah, a little bit.
You think?
Well, because they lost. Dean does not do well when Sam is dead. We all know this.
No.
And he makes questionable choices. Although I think this one actually was a good choice in the long run. But
yes.
And so there's long drawn out scenes. There's when you got to the bit with the burial scene, which ended up not being a burial scene, which was funny to me because that actually started off the first draft I wrote. He legit buried him. And then I kept looking at it going, he wouldn't do that though. Like, I wrote it and I loved it. I was like, I'm punching myself in the arm, I'm proud of how this turned out, but he wouldn't do that. And I bounced it off Teacup Unicorn. And I was like, okay, I wrote this and I love it, but I don't think he would do this. And she was like, yeah, no, he wouldn't. And I was like, okay, so how do I change this? And it was through a conversation with her that all of a sudden I was like, I can keep the scene. I just have to change the way the scene ends.
It gives me an interesting question that if they had the bunker in season 3, would Sam have made the same choice, do you think, as Dean did in this story?
Maybe. If there was a way to hold on to the body other than simply burying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And I love I think the crackiest part of the whole fic is where Dean ends up putting Sam to store him temporarily.
You can share with the audience.
Yep.
In the kitchen,
so,
right?
in the bunker kitchen, and this is not based on anything, there's actually a more logical place in the bunker that I could have done this, but it would not have been nearly as entertaining to me. So it's not the way I went with it. In the bunker kitchen, their refrigerator is the weirdest looking thing because it's like a wall of these refrigerator cabinet doors that remind me of morgue doors, right? Yeah. And so my brain just went, what if one of them is a morgue drawer? And so that's ultimately,
I had them put a body in there in one of my fics too, because it's like, it just makes sense. There's enough space. Like, even if it's going to be straight, just stick the body in there. Like, they had so much kitchen. Like, how is there not? How is there not room for that to be a thing?
And Dean aren't using all of that fridge space.
No. Oh, God, no. And potentially, in a very realistic way, you could possibly start like a deer carcass or something like that. I mean, if you broke its legs, I guess. Or squished them in. Deers tend to be quite wide. When you lay them down, I mean. But yeah, no, that's practical as fuck. You just we'll just put that here and we'll cover
it's the Men of Letters. I would think that they probably have that. We just didn't see it because it's a really industrial size, commercial looking kitchen setup. So I'm like, yeah, I think maybe because if they don't have a little spot for it anyway, like if they were doing, all the stuff they were probably working on and doing experiments and different things like that. I bet you they would have done that.
I fully.
The infirmary, behind the stairs that come down from the main door in there's behind the stairs there is an infirmary space. Okay. Supposedly. Okay. As well as I can understand any of the damn layouts for this bunker. It's
they
like
are
a
not
TARDIS
easy,
inside.
are they?
It doesn't really make sense.
They don't who built this? What the fuck?
Right.
Yeah.
So like, and in my after I decided on the refrigerator in the kitchen, my brain went, you know, it probably would make more sense if there's also a refrigerated space in that infirmary area. But I was like, nope, we're committed to the fridge now.
Yep. Yep.
Oh goodness. For me though, the one thing that did you find it difficult getting into both of their brains and headspaces in this sort of like, especially dealing with younger Sam? Because I thought you did that
excellently.
Oh, thank you.
That loss, and then but then having to deal with another version of Dean that was not the Dean, you know, that he was used to, and all of like, because he's going through so much as a teen does anyway in general, but like then layering even more of that. The relationships that they have is so weird anyway. The fact that, you know, Dean is being seen as the dad in a situation, and then like what Sam's having to do to wrestle with the fact that what he did have, what he can't have with this Dean, or, you know, thinking about that. Like, how did you keep track of those POVs and timelines as you were writing? Was it just stream of conscious, or did you have to like really go in your notes like, these are the beats for, you know, alternate Sam, these are the beats for prime Dean, kind of a thing?
In my notes, in that summary document, like outline type thing that I wrote, I had sections in there where I kind of, to get it straight off the bat, I wrote up kind of like almost like a little psychological profile,
right,
for the older Dean and the younger Sam. Right, because the other Dean and Sam don't matter quite as much. They're much more brief, and we don't ever actually get their point of view, really, on what's happening. So it was the older Dean and the younger Sam, and I basically was just like, you know, because like obviously I know older Dean from canon because he's our canon Dean for the most part. That was the jumping off point. So I was like, okay, so I know where he's at with all of this. But I kind of was like, this is how he deals with losing his brother. This is the choices that he made. This is how he feels about his younger brother. Like the image of Sam that Dean has that lives in his head, you know, that we only really get to see in Dark Side of the Moon when he goes to heaven and he's going through that memory. But like, we do get flashbacks of them as kids. So I'm like, okay, if we take all of those flashbacks of them as kids and teenagers and so that's the basis for this Dean. And that's how he's probably going to view this Sam once this Sam appears in his story. And then for that Sam, I've read enough people writing Teen Sam. Like, and the variety of Sam I like, he's a little snarky. He's sarcastic. He bottles a lot of stuff up, really, like, because he grew up with John and Dean. So, you know, he's probably not dealing with a lot of the emotional beats on all of this stuff the way that he should, because he's also a teenager. So it's very seat of the pants living. Anyway, so like, yeah. So when I wrote up the blurb about him, I'm like, this is where he's coming from. But younger Sam had decided a couple of years prior to where his part of the story begins, like a year before his part of the story begins, he had made a choice that set him and his Dean off on this alternate path to begin with. So the flashbacks are all filling that in, that I basically used for furthering his grief and sense of loss to kind of flesh that out, right? Like so this was what he had that he then lost right before Dean had Ezekiel pluck him from one timeline into the other. But then as I was writing, I basically just occasionally would just kind of go back and look at those blurbs, but I kind of had a really good grasp, I think, of who they were that I was dealing with at the time. So then I was just kind of writing from there and how they would relate to one another and how they were thinking about each other that way.
Yeah,
I will say from like a technical writing standpoint, you did a really great job of portraying the confusion that they were both feeling with like Sam, but not my Sam, Dean, but not my Dean, without confusing me as a reader going, wait, who are we talking about now? Like it was really, really excellently done. I was never confused or doubting like who was who or what was being discussed, but I could feel that confusion as well.
Good.
Yeah.
Yay. Gold star.
I think the flashbacks and everything too, like, you know, the dream sequence or different things, like filling in those gaps were done really, really well. I loved that you took, because again, we're all basing it on like, right, there's this one moment that changes everything. And I always liked what I love about like time travel, even though it's not technically, but like in this way, like because it sets things onto a different path in what you're used to seeing in Canon Dean's life. I liked seeing you bring back certain things that they would have in fact interacted with, like you did. Oh gosh, now I'm blanking out.
The Lizzie Borden thing?
Yeah, the Lizzie Borden thing. I love that because
that was great.
It was literally like, this is how, you know, at the core, Sam would still be reacting, even though he was on a different path to getting there at that moment. Like this thing with the perfume, like it was like it was beat for beat the same thing, and you're like, no, it's still Sam at that point, but without maybe all of the extra burden that he never had to deal with in Canon Dean's timeline. So there's still burden and there's still loss, but it's different, and it gives him, you still know it's him, but a different place. And at the ending, how you had decisions being made by Dean to get, you know, to another point, I was like, oh, it was the magical, fantastical aspect of Supernatural in general. I feel like you kind of like, you took all of it on in this story. And I really did enjoy the journey that you took us on with that to get to the happy ending. I thought was great. And again, there was that, I mentioned this when we talked about Stuck in the Middle, there was that porn scene that you wrote. I was like, whoa. I was like, this was like, because I think too, it was because of Dean watching it and like through that lens that you were talking about, but it was just, it was so well done. And like, I was like, go Jackie. Like that was great. I loved that. I thought you just knocked that out of the park. And then, the last chapter, which I think you rivaled Dreamer in terms of the ability to write a sex scene, out to quite a bit of lengthy stuff. I was like, okay, here we go. This is what this is going to be about. Yeah. So gold stars all around. I really did enjoy it. And I mean, I'm hoping you're getting really great reaction and stuff from the fic still, or will you, because I loved your comments. You were so excited. You're like, I'm going to post another chapter. It reminded me of Kasey.
Yeah, your author's notes like, I'm bored, I'm going to post another chapter.
Here goes the other one. I can't wait. I was going to wait, but I'm going to do it now. I felt all of that like excitement with you as I was reading it, like, you know, the little chapter notes and stuff at the beginning. So yeah.
Well,
okay, now Sandra's flattered you. Here are the problems I had, Jackie.
Okay, great. Yeah, lay it on me. No.
Here are the problems I had.
I got to keep you to like a short amount of time so we get to some other stuff. So we'll see.
We have got 40 minutes.
Right.
Here are the problems I had, Jackie. Okay, first of all, I don't think I'm that bothered by body horror. There are certain things that are just exceptions. Like, I would have always said blood and guts doesn't bother me. And then my husband tried to watch a movie while we were eating where someone was caving in someone else's skull. And I was like, bro.
You're like, too much.
Eating. So maybe I do have a problem with blood and guts, right? But that fucking dream, I was horrified.
Yeah.
Because Sam's having a lovely sex dream.
Yeah.
And it's very nice. And then all of a sudden Dean's dead. And I was like, Jackie, what the fuck? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was genuinely horrified by that.
That was one, again, so I did use, I got...
really well written though, like I'm not genuinely criticizing him.
Right, no, I know. Thank you. This one, I actually had two people beta this one for me. Teacup betaed it and Fictional Lemons, who did great with it. And so like Teacup did a lot of like idea bouncing with me, a lot, you know, because I had like a huge chunk of it written, and then I was like, I gotta, because this was the first time I'd written a multi-chapter fic that I wrote up front before sharing it with anybody, right? I didn't release it as I finished chapters.
Yeah.
I was like, this is becoming too much. I need to know that somebody else sees this so then I can see other problems. Like, because again, we were talking about this, I think, before we started recording, that it's just, once I know somebody else can see it, I then can see it from a different perspective, even without them saying anything, just sharing it with somebody. Then all of a sudden my brain goes, ooh, they're going to see this. I'm like, oh crap, I didn't even think about that. So by hoarding it and keeping it all to myself while I was writing it, I wasn't getting that out of the process. So I had to loop somebody else in. I looped Teacup in, and she really helped me bounce a few weird sticking points, and kind of get over some hurdles with it. One of the things that Teacup pointed out was you really need to tag for blood or gore on this. I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, I think so. Those are kind of intense. I was like, oh, okay. So I read it and I was like, okay, yeah, I could see how that could be disturbing. But I was going to be disturbed. Like, that was the point. So to me, I was just like, I accomplished what I was setting out to do. That's a disturbing nightmare.
Yeah, and I love disturbing things. I love dark things. I love disturbing things. I'm eternally on a quest to find out where my line is, where I go, nope.
Yeah.
And just be done with something. So, like, you nailed it. But I was just like, oh my God, what the fuck?
And I think the point was, like, he was struggling broadly with reconciling, memories, the good memories of the past, the horrifying bad memories of the past, and then where he was currently.
No, so, it was excellent.
Oh, thanks. So it was just like, I started writing it, and then I was like, how is this scene I was like, and one of the things that I like the most about Supernatural, and we've talked about this, I really dig when it bounces between kind of extremes. So when it either bounces between horror and comedy, or like the sexy and scary thing, or whatever, when it's bouncing back and forth between itself. So because that's one of the aspects of the overall story that I really love, like, that was something I really wanted to play with.
And it can get away with it because that's the world that it lives in. So, so it can go to those extremes, and it's not like, what? Like, no, like, this happens on a daily basis.
Yeah, this is just another Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What's another issue?
So I remember leaving a comment, and I was like, oh, you hit my personal trauma like a big red button.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what chapter that was on, because I'm thinking of something else. But I think it might have been around Fridge Sam or something. Was that
like Fridge Sam or the Pyre?
It could have equally been the Pyre. But let's talk about the Pyre. Okay. So here's the thing. In the notes of chapter 6, you said the heavy angst is over. Oh no. No more heavy angst. Right? And then you see what you did, Jackie. Is then you wrote Hunter's funeral, and you had Sam fucking just break down that nobody was going to give his Dean and his John a burial. And that, like, I know we talk about it by the time this episode comes out, that episode will come out. But at time of recording, it's an upcoming episode. But we talked about it in Tags and Tropes Amnesia. I have a lot of problems with like forgetting deceased persons, being forgotten as a deceased person, because it's a big trauma for me. So, like, I connected with Sam, like, oh my God, they're just in a field. Nobody's gonna find them. Nobody's gonna like acknowledge their passing. Like, they're just two more dead hunters, and that slayed me. And you said there was no more heavy angst, Jackie.
I'm sorry.
Said that.
My scale for heavy angst might be skewed slightly. I don't know.
Well, I think it's a me problem. I own that. That is 100% a me problem.
It makes it difficult, like, because we talk about this all the time with tags. Like, you just don't know who your reader is and where they're coming at from. Like, you could try to mention every single thing, but there's probably going to be something, that's going to hit someone a certain way that you would have never even be on your radar, kind of a thing too. Yeah.
What I thought was interesting about that is that Sam kind of seeing that spoke to where he was in his, like, life, if you know what I mean. Dean Prime Sam would never have had that reaction. He would have been like, well, that sucks. That's, that's very sad, but whatever. But Sam's still so young, and he hasn't gone through any of the stuff, and it was so well done. So, and we talked about this, me and you, Sandra, and Ted, when we were discussing Mystery Spot, the way Sam is at the end, and it's a child's plea for his brother, and it was that kind of thing. It was an adult may have had those thoughts, but they would have been able to deal with them in a very different way. that is a child's plea and a child's grief. And, you know, and it got me so, I was bawling my eyes out. It was gross. I was a mess. It was nasty.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that made me cry when I wrote it. So,
and there was definitely, I know I said about Fridge Sam, everybody was like, because I was leaving comments, like, it was late, I was reading and leaving comments, and all of the other comments were like, Fridge Sam is making me laugh. I'm really enjoying Fridge Sam. And my comment was like the absolute Debbie Downer, like, I have problems with Fridge Sam for personal reasons. But I do like the fact that Dean is still thinking of him. Yeah. And then you replied to me, you were like, I have something to tell you about that. I will tell you on Saturday. It is now Saturday. Tell me about Fridge Sam.
Okay, so I got to go back and look at the note.
I'm going to go back and see if I can find out which chapter it was where I was like, whoop, this is a big red button. I think it might have been the Pyre episode, to be fair.
Yeah, it was on the chapter with the Pyre.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, so the one that I said I'll tell you today. That was okay. So in chapter 5, when younger Sam, Dean was trying to have the conversation with younger Sam, because of course Dean becomes aware of the fact that this younger version of the Sam had an untoward relationship with his Dean, and this Dean doesn't quite know how to wrap his head around that. And so they're having a conversation about it. And Sam looks at him after at some point and says, "Don't worry, I'm not going to kiss you again." And he's like, "You're not him." And then you were like, "Fridge Sam makes me incredibly sad for personal reasons," in that same comment. But so the amusing thing about the thing about Fridge Sam was from that conversation that I had with Teacup about the burial scene. And I was like, Dean wouldn't bury Sam. He just wouldn't. Right. Dean never buried Sam. It wasn't a thing that Dean was capable, I don't think, of doing. So like I have him start to, and I loved the way that scene was going, because Dean was sort of having a conversation with himself, you know, as he was doing it. And I thought that lots of good stuff happened there, but I was like, but he couldn't go through with it. So spoiler alert, whatever, Dean aborts the effort to bury Sam and instead chooses to stick him in this fridge.
The fridge.
And so I did that. And then that was actually something I kept having to refer to my notes, because I was like, I got to remember to deal with Fridge Sam, because like, and it's one of the few missed opportunities that I really kind of kick myself with. It is like, now I can kind of picture a scene or two worked in there with, you know, younger Sam, you know, dealing with the knowledge that there's another version of himself, like in there, and like stuff like that. I think I could have fleshed out a little bit better, but the fact that Fridge Sam existed at all was simply because I was like, I have to put him somewhere, and then I was like, I got to remember to actually like deal with that, because you can't stay in there forever, because I don't care how good the fridge is unless it's magical. There is still a time. There's a ticking time limit on this.
Yeah. No, I think one of my favorite points or parts of like the whole burial scene is that Sam isn't doing anything. Sam is very much not involved in the process. That Dean is talking to him. Yeah. Because that's something, I don't know if you know this, dear listeners. I am very, very interested in death and the processes behind it, and how morgues, mortuaries, funeral homes, how they conduct their business. There was a period of time when I considered that to be a career that I wanted to get into. And then I had children, and I was like, oh no, I'm not built for that. Yeah. And I still would, but if I could only exclusively work with adult bodies,
I get that.
I couldn't do that. But it's a story that comes up again and again and again, from literally when like hospitals and hospices, when nurses are preparing a body to be collected by funeral homes, through to not you don't hear about it so much from coroners and people that perform autopsies, but you hear about it again in funeral homes when people are preparing bodies for viewing and things like that. And they talk to them and they tell them what they're going to do, and they talk to them as if they're alive, as a mark of respect. Right. And that really, really resonated with me, that Dean was just talking to Sam like normal, even though he was doing this horrible fucking thing. and couldn't believe that it was happening, but he was still just, there was no like, I think a lot of people think that there should be like solemn silence in those moments, and you should be silent as a respect to the dead. And I know that's like a big thing in like fantasy. I know there's a thing in A Song of Ice and Fire with the Silent Sisters, something like that. That people that deal with the dead should be silent. But I really loved that. And was that just like this is what Dean would do, or were you like pulling from that world knowledge? Like, is that something do you have a weird interest in morbid things, Jackie?
I do. I have dug. I never considered a career in the mortuary business, but I did consider a career in forensics for a while.
Yes.
But I think what it was for me, I think it felt very true to Dean. And why was, I think if he had been trying to be quiet, I don't think he would have been able to accomplish what he was trying to accomplish. He had to talk himself through it in a way that made it feel lighter and more normal in a way. So, I know I had the thought, like, how many graves have Dean and Sam dug up, right? They don't usually bury people, but they dig graves all the time. They dig them up. While they're digging, they're talking. We've seen it a few times because, what the hell else are you going to do? You're digging a hole. It's going to take hours to do it. So I think it was just him falling back on some concept of normalcy for him.
Yeah.
To get himself to get through it. And then he was unknowingly, like unconsciously working through some stuff while he was talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was a really,
and honestly,
really good scene.
Thank you. As a reader, if your character, like, I haven't read Song of Ice and Fire, but like, I find it's a more engaging reading experience if your character is being forthcoming. Like, and I know not everybody has internal monologues. I do. My internal monologue sometimes slips out and then I'm talking out loud, sometimes to other people, sometimes to myself. There's this constant stream of dialogue with myself that I'm always having. So, but I think when reading it, it's more engaging if the character is having that dialogue, even if it's one-sided.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I do think as well, oh, it's very raining outside, sorry. Like, as in the West, lol. We have such like a disconnect with death. Like, just in general, it's a private thing and you pay people to deal with it and you don't, and that's very much not true of Sam and Dean. They deal with their deaths and they, take a very active role in it. Right. So it was lovely to see that, but also, girl, I was ugly crying.
Yeah.
It was hella gross.
That was why I couldn't cut it, though, when I decided that he couldn't actually do that.
No, Dean needed to get to the end of that task and then be like, nope, this is not what we're doing. I don't think he could have not done it at all and just gone straight to Fridge Sam.
Right.
But he equally couldn't have gone through with it, but he needed to attempt the task.
He needed to work through some stuff there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm looking at my comments on the last. So a line that Jackie has in the last chapter, but it was only because the other Sam, his first Sam, had been willing to sacrifice everything to make the world a better, safer place. Bro. Ugly crying. But that's Sam. That sums him up so well.
For me with writing, because, I write stories I want to read, right? The idea that occurs to me, I'm like, I want to read this. And of course, unfortunately, when it occurs to you, you have to be the one to write it, right? Unless, which sucks, but it is a thing.
Obnoxious.
I know. So it was important to me with reading the story that, because I did kill off both a Dean and a Sam, and I didn't want to minimize that. I didn't want to belittle it or make it inconsequential. It's a huge consequence. Like, this is a huge deal. So I needed both of the surviving brothers to be able to really feel it.
Yeah.
And because of when in the timeline Sam Prime does die, what he was doing was this enormous selfless sacrifice that obviously in canon gets stopped, right? But what he was doing was, I mean, above reproach. Like that was like the biggest sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted, since I made him actually go through with it, I wanted to make sure that the impact of that was felt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why there's a scene with Castiel, talking about it. That's why that's there, because it was important to me that not only did Dean get a chance to talk about this, because again, he's still working through this loss, but I needed the younger Sam to hear some of it as well.
Yeah. And just one last thing, because I'm conscious of the time. We were like, no, 3 hours is totally fine. And then we're like, dicks, we're running out of time now. I really love the concept that it was Sam's soul that closed hell. Not just the sacrifice of a human life, but Sam's soul. And then, like what you were saying about Cass, only Sam's soul. Mm-hmm. I mean, not to say that Sam was the only human in existence that could have done it, but there's something about Sam and who he is as a person that was powerful enough to do that. And that was so clever. This is like, this whole fic, it's a Wincest fic, but I'm like, oh my god, it's a love story to my baby. I love him so much.
Yeah.
He's
and that was in part pragmatic and part in tribute to Sam, right? Because the show in general does set up Sam is extraordinary, and he gets beat on all the time, and the narrative loves to blame everything on Sam, but also the narrative does really think rather highly of him. It just doesn't say it as often.
Yeah.
Right. Sam is extraordinary, and we do see that throughout. So like with this, and the pragmatic side of it is I needed to make it so Dean could not bring that Sam back.
Yeah.
Like there's just no way he could. That it was unfortunately a complete end point for that version of him.
No.
And that was something that I know you had asked if I kept track of, like with the different versions of them. One of the things with younger Sam that was written out in my notes was the fact that I had to constantly remind myself that this Sam didn't suffer through all of the stuff that the older version of Sam did. Yeah. Like he has his own traumas, like all the childhood stuff is still there. And then he has his own additional traumas, but he never went through hell. He didn't, Dean never sacrificed his soul for him, and all of this. And that needed to be baked in to keep in mind where his head would be at with stuff.
I mean, again, like I felt the angst too, but I was just, when you get into the technical way of how you, like Kasey was saying, make it work where it's not confusing. I loved getting a little bit more about like, Sam and Dean's, like, younger Sam's relationship and how that, clicked in and like, grew and the different ways he was emboldened to take chances, in that one moment that again switched it incredibly. I like those moments, like if you pinpoint a moment and if something changes, what happens? Like I think that's what's great about all the time we have with the boys over the seasons too, is because you can really explore the what ifs in a different way. And I thought that was great. And it gave you a lot to play with, and it gave you a lot of time to then, because you don't have it be this immediate thing. They're both wrestling with it. So the eventual way their relationship progresses, it still has to go through a lot of time with this Sam and this Dean together and figuring out how this is going to work and the choices they make and the decisions they make and sacrifices they both make. And it's inherently still them, just a different, it's still our Dean, right? But just a different track now, right? It's also still our Sam, but just a different track. And you just merge them together. I thought it was a great story. I thought it was a great story.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You should definitely be proud of it.
And I would read another, like 30,000 words of just domestic Dean and teenage Sam. That was great. I'm sure your own children played no basis in inspiration for that whatsoever.
I have no experience with adolescent boys at all.
Nope. Honestly, they're a mystery, but I'm sure they make total sense. I'm sure they're not moody and angsty and do things that leave you going, what the fuck?
right?
Yeah. I thought that was really good to get to experience.
Side-eyeing my own adolescent child.
Moody Sam and like, like him like not giving, or like, again, Dean's whole wrestling with, well, I'd be okay with it if you're with a girl. Like, and this is like,
that
like
was
all
great.
Those things
Yeah.
I thought was great too, because I think it does just express Wincest on a completely different, it's its own thing. You know what I mean? Like it's its own thing, how you take it, and like how they're dependent on each other and what they're willing to see of each other's lives. And like Dean, especially, it was so interesting to watch him maneuver and figure this out in his brain. I thought was really good. It was really good. Yeah.
We appear to have run out of time, which means that I'm sorry, Jackie, you're gonna have to come back to talk about Fanbinding on your podcast.
I have a couple more things I want to ask, because we're going to do this.
I'm sorry. I want my buddy to come back and talk to us more, Sandra.
No, that's going to happen.
Jackie.
But there's certain things that I want to have. I really wanted to get to with this one because, I mean, your fanfic.
I'll shut up.
Your love of fan fiction is expressed through your fan binding, and I really wanted to get into that a little bit. Like, when did you start doing that? When was that a thing?
In 2023, and I love books. I've always loved books. I am a bibliophile. I just like the physical object of a book, the concept behind it, right? Because like so much stuff has switched online, and online is great. It's still the written word. I love the written word. I love, the way that human beings capture and share stories in that format, right? But there is something different about holding a book in your hand.
Right.
Yes.
It's just that tangible, thing that can't be taken away. Like this is mine now. I own this. This story that came out of somebody else's head is now a physical thing I can hold in my hands. And I think that that's a unique and really beautiful concept.
Yeah. Having held one of them that you did at the con, can you talk about some that you
own one?
Yeah. Can you talk about some that you've like bound and gifted? Yeah.
So I started with Pine Sweat because I don't do things halfway when I start new hobbies and projects. And Pine Sweat was of a good hefty length. It wasn't. It just hit that sweet spot for word count, and which ultimately translates into page count.
Right.
That it generated a solid hefty novel when I was done.
Yeah.
So that's the one I started with. And I reached out to Ronnie about that and just said, hey, are you cool with me doing this? If so, do you want a copy? I'd be happy to make one for you as well. Which worked out really well. And I like doing that because then, and Ronnie, of course, was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. I live in Canada, like another country. So like there's postage. Are you cool with that? I'm like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So once I had that like permission, I was like, yes. And I just ran with it. And I made 2 copies. And the benefit to that was I'm learning as I go, because this is a new hobby. I've made blank books and journals and things like that. And when I was in college, when I was in college, I did, because I've got a degree in photography. And so like we would make books, like bookbinding was a thing that we did with part of that. So I had some basis in it. And then I was like, okay, now, so I did the typesetting, which is a whole nother, that's a lengthy, painful process in and of itself that I'm still working on getting better at. And I managed to get it printed and sewing it together. And I would do like my copy and then Ronnie's copy. So I would do a step or a series of steps on mine, make mistakes as I went and go, oh, shouldn't have done that. So I'd do it better on the next one.
Yeah.
Which works out really well because then I'm sending a more perfected final product to the actual writer, which makes it just feel better, right? And I don't mind keeping the one with the weird flaws for myself. I still treasure the thing. And I do look at it and kind of go, oh, I messed up.
It's like a draft, right? It's like going through like writing a story, like where it started, where it ends up kind of a thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I did Pine Sweat and gifted a copy to Ronnie. That went great. And then immediately was like, I want to do it again. So I had recently gotten sucked into Dreamers West series, and I was like, that's shorter. I should try that. And of course, I'm no Dreamer through you guys now, so I would just reach out. I was like, hey, can I do this? Dreamer was like, that would be amazing. But, and we hashed out, like, I assured Dreamer that I would be happy to mail it to where they are, where she is. And it was a thinner volume. And again, as I was printing with that one, though, I was doing a copy for Dreamer, a copy for me, but I had done a test print on a slightly different paper that I had just sat aside. And so once I got Dreamer's done and I got mine done and I sent Dreamer hers, I was looking at this third printed text block that I had. And I was like, I could do that one too. And I ended up reaching out to Kasey and it's like, Kasey, do you want a copy of this?
Kasey snatched your hand off, mate. Yes.
Kasey went, yes. And so and Kasey's is a little different than the first two, just to, trying different techniques with it. Kasey's is the first one I actually put a title on the front cover for.
Okay.
Because I figured out how to do that.
Right.
And then I've since then, I've done another copy of Pine Sweat that was for somebody in one of the Discord servers was looking for a fan fiction binding that they could gift to someone else.
Gotcha.
And, so and that one's gorgeous. I haven't shared photos of it because I haven't gotten confirmation that the gift has been given yet. I'm still waiting to see.
Okay. Gotcha.
It turned out even better than the first two. I was really thrilled. And then I have since done just for myself a copy of Eyes Like Strange Sins by Zion Sunrise, but they had deleted all of their fics off of AO3 and vanished. I don't know how to reach out to them anymore. So I just did a copy of that for myself, and that opened up playing with materials and things like that. So I was I had some vintage silk that I've had from a dress that my mom had made. Like these were scraps left over from that. So I was like, oh, I can use like leather and silk and playing around with that and having fun. And I've got a weird kind of unique style looking at other people's fan bindings, like through Tumblr and stuff like that. Because it is very much a kind of trendy hobby, which I love because it means that they're physical copies of all of these stories that are cropping up in the world.
Yeah.
Which creates a weird problem down the line when people pass away. What's going to happen to these?
God, what's going to be in Goodwill in 50 years?
Right? But that's a problem for future us. But so I have a tendency, it's very much, and it was very evident with the Copy of the West series that I did for Dreamer in particular, because Dreamers was like this all black, and I do a rounded spine with these raised, corded elements on the back. So it's from the outside, they look like very, very old style books. And of course, with Dreamers, you open it up and the end papers are this neon motel sign.
It's beautiful.
So the front says vacancy. I think the back says no vacancy. Or it says no vacancy and then vacancy. It's one. I used both.
It's
versions.
one or the other.
One or the other.
Yeah.
And I love the juxtaposition because I like that marrying two things that seem like they should be, I don't know, counterintuitive. So all of the ones I've done so far have been like that. I'm still trying to work myself up to the concept of trying a different spine style, but I'm currently working on the typeset. I think I just finished the typeset. I'm doing a copy of Ergonomic for myself.
Okay.
Is that the one where maybe
the Saks underwear one?
Yeah. Where Dean gets all, is it Dean or is it Jared and Jensen? I can't fucking remember.
It's Dean and Sam. It's Dean and Sam, and Dean gets utterly obsessed in the most ridiculous way.
Yeah, he gets like, oh, you need big dick underwear. I fucking love that. I love that fig so much.
It's a longtime favorite of mine.
100%. And he gets all but like creepily obsessed with it.
So do you have a list of like different ones that you want to bind for just you?
I don't. I'm kind of I kind of just fixate on one at a time so far. I would love to be able to do more with. I got to get faster with it. Otherwise,
I was going to say how long does it typically take you? I mean, because you're not busy at all, so I'm sure.
You got nothing going on, Jackie. You must knock them out in a weekend, mate.
Yeah.
It takes a few months, and a lot of that is downtime. I'm not working on it constantly the entire time. I have a tendency to do like a part of it and then it sits. With each one, I have done gotten it to the point where it's printed and I've sewn the page signatures together and then it will sit for like a month before I actually get around to putting the cover on the thing.
Right.
And part of that is because I am working with real leather with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is a point of no return where if I screw it up, I've ruined everything I have done up till that point, and it's intimidating. So I have to let it sit and let the courage build before I actually start gluing the leather on.
Gotcha. Because I didn't know if there might be like, because you said if you don't have a list, but like, is there anything else like stands out in your mind that you're like, oh, I'd love to be able to hold this, you know, in my hand at some point? Like, what about any of your stuff? Are you gonna do that? Are you gonna do that with Do Over?
Maybe. Honestly haven't really thought about that.
You could do a Jackie anthology and you could put them all together. Yeah.
I could.
Volume 1.
The next one I want to do. Yeah. I really want to do Desiderata. But I have to wait for it to be finished. And I've talked with Dyed Red about this. And I'm like, if it serves as any motivation at all to get
done,
to get the rest of it done, because they keep assuring me that they are working on it and that it's not abandoned. I'm just semi-patiently waiting on that. But yeah, I was like, if it's any motivation, like I'd be happy to print and bind a copy of it for you when it's all done. So
I mean, that's hella motivation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because my autism won't let me drop this. In the same vein as ergonomic, have you read the fic Supersize Me, Sammy?
I want to say I have, but I can't think of that one off the top of my head. The title sounds real familiar, though.
It's the one where Dean finds a huge dildo in Sam's bag and gets totally normal about it.
Yeah,
and then they end up
completely.
He's very, very normal about it. But they end up fucking in the back of the Impala in a rainstorm, and it's the sexiest thing.
Yes, I think I have read that one. That one is very good.
That's also in my bookmarks. Yeah. Because my brain just wouldn't let that one drop. Like, Jackie likes ergonomic. Jackie would also like Supersize Me. Fuck, I'd go back and read that fic on a semi-regular basis because it's peak Dean is normal about Sam.
Right.
Like 100%. Yeah. All right, Sandra, I'm sorry, I'll stop derailing.
That's okay. I wanted to do a quick check-in with the podcast before we let you go. So the epic love story of Sam and Dean. How's that going? Because when we talked last time, and it was like, I think you were still in the stages of you're getting ready. You might have I don't know if you had, I'm trying to think now. I can't remember if you had recorded an episode or two you were getting ready to. But where
it had released.
It hadn't released yet, but I think you had a couple in the can maybe or something like that. So how is that going for you?
It's going really well. I know it's slower than everybody seems to want it to be because we're only releasing every other week with it. But that's in large part because of scheduling between the three. So it's me and Teacup and Oh When You Love It. Owen.
That's a great name.
Just going through, episode by episode. And let's see, The Benders just came out. So that's episode 15 of season 1 has been up through that's been released. I've got Shadow, the next one, primed and ready to go on October 1st. That one will drop. And then we are actually tomorrow, we're doing Hell House. We're recording that. So we're getting through it. You
got a rhythm. You guys gotten a rhythm going now. Have definitely gotten a lot of that. Because I know you were talking about mics and different things like that. And that's kind of gotten figured out and stuff.
Yeah. We've made a lot of improvements with that. Because again, it's a learning as we go. No need to figure this stuff out first. Just jump in and start doing it.
Right? That's always a great plan.
To be fair, I think podcasting is a little bit like making music or starting a band. You gotta suck first.
Right.
You can't go in with top-notch equipment and everything like that because you don't know what to do with what you've got.
Right.
You got to start at the bottom with shitty $20 Amazon mics and a guitar you got from your brother that's missing a string. You got to start at the bottom and learn the fundamentals before you can, so that's my personal opinion.
It's review, it's reflection. I mean, we do this a lot, and we actually just talked to Mary from Carrying Wayward, which was a great conversation, and just how very different, there was a lot of planning and stuff in place, I think, on their end for their podcast, where we were just like, hey, let's do this thing. And it's
right.
Mary said, there's room for everything and every within this medium and this way of giving back
Yeah.
or like, being about your favorite thing. Like there's all different ways of expression. And I think it's great to be able to build on it and get better as you go.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. And you only have how many years have you figured out it's going to take you if you
Isn't it like 7?
if you continue at this
Oh
pace?
no, because we're currently going at a rate where we will only be able to do like one season of the show per year. So
okay.
we need to speed. We need to find a way to speed it up, or because it's going to be like 12 years or something at the going rate if we just never take a break and we just.
So
keep
we know
doing,
what you're
like,
going to be
2 a month.
doing in another 10 to 20 years, because I was asking Nick that question and I'm like, Jackie might still be doing the things too. So you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
But
You can have like a season 1 kind of like breakdown when you reach the end of whatever the fuck that episode is called.
The last one is Devil's Trap. Right?
That's the one. My brain went all along the Watchtower, and I was like, "That's definitely
That's
not
the
right."
right season. Yeah. So what we ended up doing was, because this whole concept kind of grew out of the Discord server for the Wincest Book Club Discord server, because it was me basically just looking for something, and I was like, this doesn't exist. Anybody crazy enough to do this thing with me? And I got
oh my god, that's how we started.
yeah, and so. I had several people reach out that they wanted to be involved and but didn't necessarily want to be on mic with it. Teacup and Owen were they were down. They were like, we will be on mic. We will go through this. This will be great. So it's kind of become just the 3 of us with it. But I talk about stuff in that server all the time. And as the first, multiple episodes had kind of been, I think we had like 9 or 10 episodes out. And it was Crowley's mistress had suggested doing like our favorite Wincest moments from each episode. And I was like, that's a great idea. And it's something we hadn't really been delving as deeply into as I wanted to. But I was like, but these episodes, like we're spending like 2 hours talking about each episode. I was like, I don't really want to make the podcast episode any longer than that because, it's still kind of hard to whittle it down sometimes just to keep it to that. So I was like, well, what if we did like a recap? And so rather than save it all up for the end of the season, since it takes so long to get through it, we did a recap at the midway point. So after Scarecrow, which is episode 11 of the 22 episode season, we did our recap of the first 11 episodes. And we each kind of went through each episode and listed out our favorite moments for that, really from the shipping angle. And so the plan is to do a mid-season and an end-of-season recap.
Okay.
With the exception, obviously, being season 3. When we get to it, we'll just do an end of season because it's shorter anyway. It doesn't make sense to do it at a midway and at the end.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you're getting information too, like from like suggestions so that you can incorporate different things like that haven't thought about it. It's I think that's great. That's awesome.
That was just me angling for an invite, Jackie.
I know, and I would love to have you guys on, but the problem is that because of the way that the format has worked out, I don't think guests are going to be able to.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's one of those things. No, I don't think, because like you said, you've already got 3. We know what it's like to
I'm
wrangle
2
a whole bunch of people
on my fucking own. So, and I cannot be trusted to be normal, but I'm deemed normal about this. So,
there you go.
I think that's the mid-season and end-season recaps is really great though. And yeah, we feel your pain about trying to. Well, no, not I don't. I am the problem. Sandra editing S feels your fucking pain when they're trying to trim down my nonsense. Well, we need a name for your editor persona, Sandra.
We'll figure it. Editing Sandra is fine with me. Yeah. Like right now,
it's too long. It's there's a lot of words in that.
Fine. Ardnas. That's Sandra backwards.
No, but you claimed that for vodka Sandra or rum Sandra. I can't remember.
Oh, I did, because like Neznej. Yeah, Ardnas. Yeah.
And we can't have Drasna because that's the name you write under.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. We'll figure it out. At some point. Yeah. Well, Jackie, we could talk to you for another 2 hours apparently or more, but
Oh God, yeah.
We are gonna have to let you go because we got some other things we gotta do today too. But
you guys don't have anything else on your plate.
Don't have anything else, no. But we would. I mean, you know, we've always got an open invitation. We are trying to figure out like more ways to bring people to come back. That's like, you know, theme or related like that. So if you ever get like an itch to chat about something and you're like, hey, you know, maybe have you guys ever thought about this? And we'll be like, hey, we actually have thought about that. Let's see if we can put something together. But
just as a self plug, I am taking part in the Wincest Big Bang.
Oh,
this
yeah,
year.
that's right.
So I've got
So we'll be
that's
able
gonna
to
coming out for that.
We'll probably be able to, because that was one of the things I eventually wanted to talk about too, are all the different ways, you know, you've worked like how fan fiction is, you know, getting you out there and doing different things. So we'll have to have you come
and
back.
it's your first, your first bang as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And again,
locked in
large credit to you guys going through it last year and sharing the experience and me hoarding fics this past year. And I was like, I could do this because it's low risk on my part because I have a fic in the sort of in the barrel,
right?
Which I then didn't end up using. The one I had was Do Over, which, you know, because then I came up with another one. But
look at that, all the things.
Okay.
All
when
the
are
things.
is that starting to post soon? It's around the time.
It's in October, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure.
I'm gonna be completely straight with Jackie. We cannot schedule you in again this year.
No, that's fine.
We have no space. But next year, leave it with me. The start of next year, we'll come back and you're going to talk about your bang experience, and then we'll talk about our bang experience, and we'll compare the two, and it'll be great.
There you go.
There we go. Look,
but yeah, so basically, anytime y'all want to have me back on, just let me know, and I would be happy to.
Well, we loved working with you too, like with Pod Together and everything. So I'm glad that we've gotten this opportunity over the past couple of years, just to like, you know, our friendship has grown and bloomed, and it's become this great thing.
And it's beautiful.
We always appreciate you. We appreciate all the support you've given us over the years too. Like you've been a mainstay in that. So we really do appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
I really appreciate y'all. Fandom is more fun. I can't talk. Fandom is more fun when you got friends to share it with.
There's a lot of F's in that. That's probably
too many. Yeah, too many fists.
So, you know, meeting people and getting to know people, that's half the fun of being weird and crazy about a thing.
Together.
You know?
We're not weird and crazy. We're totally Dean normal about stuff. Totally normal. I'm not gonna start trying to make Dean normal. Like I'm gonna make that a thing for being unhinged about something.
Right.
Oh gosh, we will let you go if you feel free to exit whatever, but have a great rest of the day. Maybe join us in the smut closet if you have time.
We're gonna see you in about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
you said you have nothing going on, so you've got to be there now. You told me yourself.
All right.
Thank you both.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank you. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye.
Oh goodness. All right. That was a great conversation. We could talk more about how wonderful it is, but we gotta get this done.
Fucking hell, Sandra's on chipmunk. That was great. We love Jackie, but we gotta go. Bye.
We have stuff to do. I have to get ready for this book closet. No, we loved it. It was a great conversation.
You want to like take a breath, babe?
No, I don't like taking breaths because then you're like, do you want to take? Then you couldn't say, do you want to take a breath, babe? But no, we love Jackie. Loved hearing about
Jackie,
her fiction journey. Can't wait to see what else she does. And we're glad
very hyped for a Wincest Big Bang.
Yeah, and we're glad that we're like right on in there with like knowing the scoop and knowing the details about stuff. So keep us up to date, Jackie. But we are going to wrap up this episode because I have stuff to do and Kasey has to help me. So we want to thank you for listening and let us know what you thought of the episode. You can email us at idlingintheimpala@gmail.com. You can comment on Spotify in the Q&A section. You can leave a YouTube comment, join our Discord, and chat with fellow idlers and us in real time. Check out our merch store, which is another fun way to show your support. You can find details for everything on our website. That's idlingintheimpala.com. Want to fuel our supernatural road trip? Consider joining us on Ko-fi. We have perks to go along with different membership tiers, and would love to have you along for the ride.
Speaking of perks, we've got special shout-outs for some of our Ko-fi members. From our Shotgun Picks and Music tier, we've got Runaway Dreamer, Crowley's Mistress, Sam and Dean 76, Elia, Charlie, and Just Whispering Fantasies. Thank you for picking the tunes in the car. Support like yours keeps our podcast going. Thank you. Don't forget, you can always support us for free by liking, commenting, subscribing on YouTube, and following, rating, sharing on audio platforms. Engagement like that really helps us with the algorithms. All hail their benevolence. As always, we have the causes we support in the description. So from me, you have LGBTQ plus talking charities. From Sandra, you have mental health charities. And of course, the main causes that we are always highlighting, championing, spotlighting are Blood Central Kitchen and Doctors Without Borders. If you want to know more about these causes, why we're supporting them, what they mean to us, check out idlingintheimpala.com. There's a page there called Causes Cause with all the details. So with that, we will say a huge thank you to Jackie for joining us. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.